Welcome to The Explainer. Let's jump straight into this beautifully animated English language story set right on the banks of the sacred Ganges River. We're looking at The Feast of Faith, a really profound narrative about hunger, devotion, and a miraculous event that totally blurs the line between the earthly and the divine.
So meet our main character. He was this incredibly frail orphan, but locals actually just knew him by a number, Adhaiya, which literally means 2.5. Now, why on earth would they call him that? Well, despite being so thin, this kid had an absolutely staggering appetite. I mean, he could put away 2.5 kilograms of traditional Indian bread, or bati, in a single sitting. It's wild. But because of this, people didn't use his real name. They just defined him by this relentless, heavy hunger.
And his reality was tough. Having absolutely no home and no family, Adhaiya's entire existence was just this grueling, day-to-day battle against starvation. He spent his days basically just trying to survive on the dusty riverbanks. Crushing poverty had left his body weak and constantly aching. It was a super isolating way to live, just stretching on and on. That is until a really compassionate ashram guru happened to walk by and notice his heartbreaking condition.
Seeing the boy so exhausted, the guru's heart just melted. He walked over and offered a simple but completely life-altering deal. He said, "Come to our ashram, serve, and get a full meal." This kind invitation was a total game changer. It literally rescued Adhaiya from the streets. For a kid whose entire life revolved around an empty stomach, the promise of a guaranteed full meal in exchange for just some honest daily service, that was nothing short of a miracle. It gave him purpose and finally, a safe place to land.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how fast his life transformed once he moved in. Adhaiya didn't just do the bare minimum to get his food. Not at all. He poured his whole soul into his work, sweeping courtyards, fetching water. He did it all with this radiant enthusiasm. For the first time ever, surrounded by this community, he actually felt like he had found a true family. And that deep sense of belonging healed his spirit, setting the stage for something massive.
Right, so this all builds up to Ekadashi, a super important sacred day of fasting. And here is where it gets interesting. On this holy day, the guru gives Adhaiya a pretty ironic task. The boy, famously known for his endless hunger, is told to observe a strict fast. But wait, there's more. He's also instructed to cook an elaborate devotional feast for the guru's beloved Lord Thakurji. Talk about the ultimate test, right? Asking someone who has starved his whole life to prioritize his spiritual love over his intense physical hunger.
But you know what? He absolutely nails it. With such a pure, innocent heart, Adhaiya channels all his newfound love into crafting this mouth-watering traditional feast. He makes this rich, bubbling dal, perfectly bakes the crusty bati over the fire, and carefully sweetens the decadent chorma. Every single motion is deliberate. His mind is totally locked onto one beautiful thought, making sure the Lord is deeply pleased with this humble offering.
So, the meal is ready, smelling incredible, and he sets it out on the floor. But he doesn't just treat this like some robotic ritual to check off a list. He calls out to God. And he does it with the genuine, raw longing of someone who knows intimately what desperate hunger feels like. He pleads from the very bottom of his heart for the Lord to come and accept the food. It's this moment of pure, unfiltered sincerity, totally stripped of any ego or pretense.
And here is where the story kicks into high gear. Drawn by that divine aroma and the striking purity of his call, the heavens actually start to stir. I mean, in a dazzling sequence, celestial beings start leaving their cosmic thrones and popping up at this humble mud ashram. First, Devraj Indra shows up, then the great sage Narad. Soon, goddess Lakshmi and goddess Saraswati appear, followed by Lord Rama, the creator himself.
Just picture this for a second. It's honestly kind of a funny spectacle. You've got this massive crowd of the most powerful beings in the universe completely entranced by the scent of an orphan's devotion, just waiting for a meal on an earthly porch. But Adhaiya, he is remarkably unfazed. He respectfully welcomes them, sits the creators of the cosmos down like regular guests, and then he stubbornly lays down his one non-negotiable rule. He looks calmly at these assembled gods and firmly declares, "You will only be fed after my Thakurji arrives." He absolutely refuses to serve a single bite to anyone until his beloved Lord Ram arrives to accept the offering first. It's this laser-like focus and unwavering loyalty so profound that even the greatest gods of the cosmos just nod, completely respecting the boundaries set by this formerly starving orphan. The tension here is just wild. On one hand, you have this incredible paradox. The greatest celestial being sitting patiently, maybe even a little hungrily, on a dusty porch. On the other hand, heaven remains totally quiet. Lord Ram is conspicuously delaying his arrival. The contrast is super sharp, leaving everyone wondering when or if is the Supreme Lord actually going to answer this kid's invitation. Meanwhile, up in heaven, Goddess Sita is watching this whole unbelievable scene unfold. Seeing the boy's earnest face and the slightly awkward reality of all these deities sitting on the porch, she turns to Lord Ram.
She's deeply moved and basically asks, "My lord, why haven't you gone to him yet? He's calling you with such a pure heart. Why the delay?"
Lord Ram just smiles this warm, knowing smile. He gently explains to goddess Sita that he isn't ignoring the boy. They're actually testing Adhaiya's faith and patience. He wants to see just how steadfast this vulnerable kid really is. Will he cave to the immense pressure of having all these other gods waiting for food, or will he hold out for his ultimate devotion? Well, spoiler alert, Adhaiya passes with flying colors. The very next moment, the scene dramatically shifts. Boom! A blinding, brilliant flash of divine light completely floods the tiny ashram. It cuts right through the mundane reality of the riverbank. It's a spectacular visual in our animated story. The pure, unyielding power of an orphan's faith literally shatters the barrier between the spiritual realm and the physical earth. And here's the climax. Emerging right out of that brilliant light, the supreme divine guests physically manifest right in front of Adhaiya's astonished eyes. Lord Ram, goddess Sita, Lakshman, and the mighty Hanuman all step gracefully into the room. The absolute, supreme reality of the universe stepped into this simple ashram for one reason only: to answer a young boy's heartfelt dinner invitation.
You can just imagine the emotion here. Seeing his beloved lord finally standing real and smiling right in front of him, Adhaiya is totally overwhelmed. Tears of pure joy are just streaming down his face. This humble orphan, who used to beg for scraps, is now proudly hosting the creators of the universe. With trembling love, he finally serves the warm dal, body, and churma to his Thakurji, and then happily to all the other deities who had been waiting so patiently.
So what is the big takeaway we can pull from this? It beautifully redefines true devotion. It's not about making these grand, expensive gestures or knowing complex ancient rituals. True devotion is simply about having pure faith, an innocent heart, and an unwavering belief. It's a love so powerful it can literally compel the divine to descend to earth. Adhaiya didn't have material wealth, but his unconditional love was enough to move heaven itself.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to carry with you. Think about the constant noise and endless distractions in our modern lives. If the divine came to your door today, whether disguised in humility or in full glory, would your devotion, your focus, and your heart be pure enough to bid them stay? Take a moment to ponder that. Thanks for joining me to unpack this incredible story. Keep seeking, keep learning,
Thank you
and
for
I'll see
watching.
you in the next one.
If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and share it with your friends and family. Subscribe to Wisdom Tree Kids for more inspiring, educational, and entertaining stories for children.